and I just wish I could do more because I'm basically their voice because you don't
Mhm.
hear or see them, any of them. I try to push for, the glamour girls and the jumping bomb
Yeah.
angels and try to push for Wendy more. If it wasn't for Wendy, I think it was WrestleMania 1, guys. I mean, she basically set the standard. I mean, she was as popular as Hogan.
This is the word to go, yo, go, yo.
Well, welcome everybody to a new edition of Grown Ass Women TV. Oh yes, I'm so glad you guys asked. That is a hashtag. It's hashtag GawTV. Your ladies are here. Lisa Marie Varon, Mickie James, myself, SoCal Val. We are here for a new episode, and I hope that you guys are doing us a favor by liking this episode. Give us a likey. Yes, please subscribe to this channel. That's very important. And of course, ring that bell. Lisa's got the biggest bell in the world. And Mickey's got a big one too. Listen, we're not about size differences here, but I will tell you these girls are ready. So make sure you click that bell also because it enables notifications to get you guys notified for new episodes of the show. Lisa, I know we're so excited for this guest. Please tell us who we're talking to today on GawTV. How exciting.
I'm so excited. We talk once a week all the time, and she's like my menopause sister. She'll probably kill me for mentioning this, but she is like one of our idols, and who we studied growing up. And I'm not saying she's not that much older than I am to you guys, but Madusa, baby. Monster truck queen. That's right. Let's bring her in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Madusa is here. Raise your glass to the legend that is Madusa, our good friend. Welcome to Grown Ass Women TV. Mwah.
Cheers.
Cheers. I don't know what y'all got in your glasses, but mine's water. It's like 100 down here in Florida, and it's
Are you doing
muggy
keto? Are you doing keto too?
No keto. I thought you said, am I doing Kegels?
Yeah.
I certainly am right now.
That was my next question.
Yeah. Oh my
Well,
God. We're so
you.
happy to finally have you on the show, Deuce. Like I know we've been asking and hounding you. I'm so thankful that you can make time for us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Look at how many different schedules and time zones we have here though. So thank you for having me. We finally, made it happen and come to fruition. So thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Your set is so professional.
My
right
set,
there. And I loved
blurry.
your title. And I loved your title, The Woman Who Would Be King, after your book.
It is. Hold on
yeah. And you already answered half of the opening question. We start the show every time.
I did?
We ask who you wearing, what you drinking, and you said you were drinking water.
And I'm wearing, I was going to come in naked because it said you can come in and do it,
We
whatever.
don't judge, bro.
All the ratings. Get those likes.
What an honor.
Awesome Kong came in topless.
She did.
No, she didn't.
She did. Oh my God, she did.
No, she didn't. Oh my God, that's pretty cool.
We made the mistake of saying to her, we said, hey, wear whatever you sleep in, whatever you feel comfortable. And she came real comfortable, and it was so hilarious. And she's like, oh, I was confused. And we were like, oh, dear God, it was so funny.
Oh, that's perfect. I'm thinking no one wants to see my saggy 60-year-old titty ass. No,
You better
it's
quit.
like it. Oh no, girls, wait. Now, Mickie, you and I were talking the other day, and like you're young, and like I mean, the realization is this: I could have birthed you. You could be my daughter. Yes, and Vale, you probably could be our granddaughter or something. I don't know what the. Yeah.
No way. No way. No.
Me too. You guys.
Lisa, you're only 50. Shit.
I'm 52, but you and I are on the phone all the time talking about menopause.
Oh, that's a real thing. You guys haven't started that yet, have you? You two?
No, I don't think so.
So Madusa, can I tell you that living in the UK, which I'm here now, I was in America for a couple of weeks. Now I'm back home in the UK. I don't know why I find this so funny, and maybe if people are watching from the UK, I don't want to offend, but they call it the menopause here. Do you know that?
Like it's a thing.
It's
like it's tangible.
It's so weird. The menopause. I'm like, that makes it sound so ominous and weird. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's tangible. Like you can just grab it and whip it away or something. But no, I wish it was that easy. So the funny things is kind of like, well, you get this little pillow on your belly, which is weird. And because I've always had a nice flat stomach, but I mean, I've had 2 tubal pregnancies and then was pregnant with twins. So I've been cut open like 3 times in different pregnancies, right? So everybody's smiled. But yeah, so after a while, after you've been cut open so many times, I mean, who's a mommy here? Mickie, you're a mommy? Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe you've had natural birth, but even so,
no,
it's
I
hard
had
to,
an emergency C-section, but I also
You
didn't know about
did?
your tubal pregnancies.
I had no
Oh.
I
idea.
didn't even know that about
I'm
you,
so
Mickie.
sorry. Yeah, I had
Oh,
no about that.
oh,
I had no idea about that. But I also
part
had
of
an
life.
emergency C-section, so that is
Did.
yeah. I tried to have him naturally. I just wouldn't. My body said no.
You're tiny though. You're tiny, and that's
Yeah.
got to be
Said
hard
no.
for little tiny girls.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I mean, after having something like that, and even being cut open once, your whole body and muscle there is just like you do everything you can to keep it flat. And to
Never
have
the
it
same.
done like 4 times, and you're like, oh my God. So anyway, menopause hits, you go through all that stuff and you try to find things that work. I want to be as natural as possible. I don't want to do the drugs or the pills. And I'm just not about that.
Yeah, I don't want to speak again, like it's it's a weird thing, but like for me, I had my appendix taken out. We're talking about, this is what we talk about in the show. We're all very open. I had my appendix taken out. I had a lot of issues with like my, lady regions, whatever, and pain and whatever. And to get to the bottom of it, I did everything I could with the NHS. But if I wanted to keep exploring it because they couldn't figure out what was wrong, I have to go private. And to go private is very pricey. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So one half of the other, really. So
Right.
that's why, you know what? That's why all the Canadians come down here for a lot of their private stuff too, because they can get in right away.
There you go.
Come here to get their boobs done.
That too.
Well, then all the Americans are leaving here and they're going to Mexico to get their tits done. I don't know.
And I'll tell you, in the UK, I'm not being funny. In the UK, everyone goes to Turkey for like hair transplants, and everyone goes to Poland for like, threading and like, yeah. So there's all kinds of different ways to get things done, wink, wink, that are cheaper.
Yes.
Done in the UK, yeah. So I'll be heading to Turkey and Poland to be, and you guys won't
Oh, what are you getting done? No.
You guys won't even recognize me. I'll be so svelte. My lips will be out to here. I'll be gorgeous.
All of us have our own special type of, friendship. Val, I worked with you on a few things with Mike Weber, and I mean, amazing connection. Mickie, I just got to know you really. I've watched your work in WWE, and phenomenal worker, by the way, and with NWA. And Lisa, you're a hot topic. I said hot topic, not hot mess. I said hot topic.
Thank you.
Yes. What a phenomenal, in your era too. I mean, to be sitting here with all 3 of you that are amazing, amazing talent. And look at these generations. It's just, it's just mind boggling. It's just so good. And we never got to work with any of you, right? I mean,
Right.
Val, you got to wrestle, right? You did.
I didn't really. I did a couple like mixed tags here and there. I bruised like a peach. It's not a good situation. I never wanted to wrestle. I was more of the manager, and if it made sense to do a wrestling match, I would do it. But I didn't ever want to be a wrestler. I didn't want to go after a belt. And then eventually, I kind of figured out, like, listen, I'm more of a presenter, host type of person. Yeah, wrestling is not for me. No, God.
No. Okay.
I think it's beautiful. I do think it's beautiful, though, Madusa. It's weird, like not calling you Deborah, but Madusa,
I've been called a few things. So
yeah,
you want to call me.
A bitch.
Yeah. Oh, that's minimum. That's
probably
minimal.
very low key, right? That's PG.
Yes. Yes.
Like we like every generation, though. Like you're in wrestling, you're still a family.
When you guys first saw the movie, The Wrestler, what was your first take on that? When I first saw the movie way back when, I told myself, and I turned to my husband, I said, there's no effing way I'm ever doing that. It scared me to death. Like when I saw that movie and you saw the old school tables and the old men and ladies, whatever, around the table with the catheter bags, and we're signing, we're just waiting for a few bucks. I was like, oh my God, I so don't want to do that. So when I left wrestling in 2001, 99, I went into monster trucks, and then for just retired like 20 years later, in 2020. And so I couldn't, I said, I'll never ever do that. And I just never looked back on wrestling. And I never even watched a show from 2001 and up until I was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
That movie scared the piss out of me.
It was scary.
Thoughts,
and I think
Mickie and Lisa about the wrestler. I've always wanted to hear your thoughts. So please, Mickie and Lisa, go ahead.
I was going to say that it was kind of scary because I came up the independents, and
I did too.
Even going through the signings and stuff now, you do see some people that are very similar to Randy the Ram in that thing. And it's so sad. It's so sad because obviously the veterans, like a lot of that, it wasn't the same money. And obviously no wrestler ever, we tell them to save their money, but it's the first time a lot of them have had money. So what do we do with it? We spend it. But yeah, you see a lot of that where it was like, oh my God. I remember seeing it on the independents when I was trying to make it, seeing it there and going like, gosh, I don't want to be. That's so sad that they still have
that movie came out, Mickie? That movie came out when you were still in the indies?
No, I just remember. No, I said I remember seeing that whole kind of scene while I was on the independents.
Okay.
Then and going like, oh God, like that's wild to me. I thought that these were big stars, the stars that I watched and stuff. So it was pretty. But because I think I was in wrestling and saw it that way, I was like, oh, this is very aware of what the other side of the mountain could look like if you weren't smart.
Boy, I'm telling you,
it's crazy.
And boy,
can I say something though?
Yeah,
we were just talking about like you doing like a double transition, and since we didn't I'm wearing my Kelly Bell band T-shirt out of Baltimore, my buddy Kelly Bell. But look what I got.
Honey, the monster truck.
So
didn't I give
Madusa gave this to me. Well, she gave it to Donovan.
I gave it to Donovan. Yes.
She didn't give it to me. She gave it to Donovan. I just went into his room and pulled it out with all the monster trucks. It lives with all the monster trucks because he's got a whole, like, how boys do. Because a friend came over. Remember I called you and I was like, oh my God, his buddy came over and ripped it open because I'd had it in because she had signed the case and the whole thing, ripped it open. But he plays with it. He does play with it.
That's fine. You're supposed, that's fine.
So I did go to your monster truck show in Chicago. Do you remember that, Madusa? When
Lisa did. Let me tell I was in Chicago, and
that was our first time meeting each other.
Was it really? Yes, it was. How did I think
I DM'd or Twittered. I'm like, oh my God, Madusa's coming down doing her monster truck in Chicago. And you invited me and got me tickets and you let me get in the truck. And you gave me a hat, which is in my storage, actually. I wanted to wear it. It's in my freaking storage. And
half my stuff's in plastic storage. Yes. Yeah, that's where I did. It was, and it was freaking cold. It was in the winter. Wasn't it? Yeah. We were actually jumping monster trucks in a hockey arena, one of those small places. It was stupid crazy.
And you can see the picture right here.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Oh my gosh, that is so great. I love those. And what else? Who else came out? Do you know that Phil came out too?
CM
Punk.
Also known as CM Punk.
Yeah, CM Punk. Phil, I'm like Phil, Phil.
He loves to be called Phil. He loves that so much.
He loves to be called Phil. Philbert.
He's very amiable and he's he loves that. Yeah.
I can't wait until the CAC, Mickie, and I get to call him Phil.
Please do.
Mr. Philbert.
Phil. His name is Phil. Your name is Phil.
Is he going to be there as well? Medusa, is he going to be there as well?
He confirmed. He said he was, but anything can happen with Mr. Phil.
He's lovely, but God bless. Just embrace the name Phil. Listen, Punk,
I know.
Whatever. You're cool. Listen, it's all good. Eat your sugar.
It is a very unassuming name. He probably
What?
had to fight that whole name his whole life. No wonder he's got such a big chip on his shoulder.
I know that
He's
guy.
got a
I
little
tell you,
Pringle on his
Damn
shoulder.
it, parents.
A little bite.
Naming me
Stop.
Phil.
Stop.
he's
Good
got a
Lord in
chip.
heaven.
He's got a Pringle chip. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think he's salty. He's got a salt and vinegar Pringle chip. He's got just.
That's my favorite. You know what I always said when so I always ate not always because a potato chip never touched these lips like through wrestling. Nothing. Ugh. And so I remember when I was like, oh, I was getting done with wrestling, I started having a potato chip and I was like, oh, this is so good.
Man.
But salt and vinegar was my favorite. So
That's my favorite.
because I couldn't eat the potato chips, whatever. I'd take the potato chip and I'd stick it in my mouth and suck all this shit off, and then I'd throw the potato chip away. And I would say,
Whoa,
what? Because it was the vinegar, and I'd say, like, what? I don't have to douche later.
They do say it.
Oh my God.
Host announcer. They do say that like the salt and vinegar chips are good for your throat to bring your voice back. I'm not sure if that's true. I will say that.
That is true.
Is it?
That is true. I
You're a
think
singer,
it was Dolly Parton who eats Lay's potato chips, maybe, before she goes out on plain regular Lay's potato chips. And because she does that, not because I love snacking and I'm a big chip eater.
Me
and
too.
Snacker and popcorn. And
yes,
I love snacks. I could snack all day long.
I could have a snack for dinner.
I love snacks. But now
Yes.
I have potato chips before I perform because Dolly does it. And she's a genius.
Because it's Dolly.
Well, and she seems to have an idea of what she's doing. She's got something going right there. So she said it was okay. So I think it's a winner.
You got into a monster truck. Did Mike Weber introduce you to this?
Yes. So it's in my book. So none of you've read the book. You're going to have to read the book. I'm just saying. Okay. So the story goes, Michael was
Make
Weber.
it short, so we have to read the book.
Oh, I will. Yeah, it's in the book. Okay,
Jesus.
I'm done. It's in the book. Next. No, just kidding. So Michael was working for WCW and he left because of all the bullshit. And I was there. And then it was about, I don't know, 99. I get a call early 99 and he's like, hey, Deuce, what are you doing? I'm like, Weber, what the fuck? What are you doing? He goes, well, I was just wondering, I'm working for this new company and you're a freaking gearhead. You ride dirt bikes and four-wheelers and you got Harleys. And I'm like, yeah. I go, well, what's up? He goes, well, I work for this company called Monster Jam and we need women. We need little girls in the audience. We need women. And I'm like, well, you want me to sit in the audience? Is this planting things? What are you doing? What are you thinking? He goes, no, would you be interested in driving one? I'm like, are you what the hell? I haven't even seen one. I've never been to a show. I'm like, okay. Just like that. I'm like, okay. I don't know. He goes, so they flew me out and I test drove for 2 days and I was hired on the spot. It was like the perfect marriage. So yeah, it was Mike Weber, and God, that man, what an amazing man. He's done so much for so many people, and he always has these little nuggets to encourage people or to do things or to include them things. He has this circle. Val, he's been good to you.
Oh my gosh. I was getting teary-eyed because this man has, I was in Impact for a long time. And if it weren't for him, I think I would have either left or been fired, whatever. And he really entrusted me with very important things and let me do my own thing. Let me be a host.
He spoke well of you.
I would be nowhere if it wasn't for Mike Weber. We love him. We call him Wyke Meber as a joke. We love him so much. Wyke Meber. And he is so knowledgeable and so lovely in terms of creative, is kind of going like, Val, do your thing. He would give me things to do your thing. Let me have creative control. He was lovely. I just talked to him today, actually. I love him so much. He is probably one of, if not the most influential person in my career that has really helped me grow as a performer, as a host. And again, gave me jobs to do, but also let me do it in my own way. And let me grow. It was,
he let you be your own personality, and he's been there. He's been there. We've been there for each other, through those transitions, through the pinnacles of our careers and stuff. So, he was one of the main people in my life that I thanked thoroughly in my book. He was
Yeah.
a big
Same
to-do.
for me. I feel like, he's probably, again, probably the most influential person as far as who
Mhm.
helped me grow, who helped me continue on with, the wrestling thing was in Impact Wrestling. I was a ring girl, then I was the valet, but I know I wanted to do more. I wanted to do presenting and hosting, and he let me do that and let me be who I wanted to be. So cheers to Mike Weber, by the way. Cheers.
Oh, here you go, Mikey
Cheers,
Mike.
Mike
Mike
Weber, we love you so
Weber.
much.
Oh, I like your glass,
I am
Lise.
such, well, hey,
Wow, little widow peak glass.
A fan made this for me, Kendall Dunn. Yeah, it had that little Black Widow thing here, but it fell off.
I love it. You should go get those little stickers of the Black Widows, put them on cups like that, and you can sell them for 6 packs.
There you go.
Oh,
You know,
there you
every
Tell 'em
day
you'll
I'm
have-
hustling.
There we go.
I am.
Were you looking to transition when you fell into, because I guess you kind of fell into in the sense with Mike or whatever, were you looking for a transition then, or?
That's a great question, Mickey. And so to be honest with you, with wrestling and monster trucks, I fell in them both.
Right.
Nowadays it is with wrestling, it's something where little girls are able to watch on TV pretty frequently, and it's out there exposed on tons of different channels and networks and internets. And so it gives a great platform for little girls and little boys or whatever to grow up and say, hey, that's what I want to be. When I was younger, there was nothing for them to look at. So it was actually around the Attitude Era where it gave that platform for those younger girls to grow up to be what they wanted to be, like, Phil's wife.
That's
and
what
AJ.
I watched.
Yeah, see, and maybe
Era.
yourself. And so the Attitude Era, as much as I say that, hey, WWE never, they forget everything from the Attitude Era prior because they don't promote shit before that.
Right.
And it's no dig on the Attitude Era. It's just that's the way it is. Attitude Era was the cornerstone of what exactly was ready to take place. It was boomed. It exploded. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. So back to your question is, the transition is when I got into wrestling, I was putting myself through school to be a nurse. So I was mending bones, went to breaking them.
Right.
And somebody approached me, it's in my book. And so I'm like, wrestling? Are you freaking crazy? And say, I'm from Minneapolis. I'm from Minnesota. There's something in the water out there. I don't know what, but Vern was just down the street from us. And so, and I knew you'd see Vern's TV, and whatnot on the old black and white TV with the bunny ears and crap. So, I mean, I saw it and the guy spitting and screaming on TV, and I'm like, oh God, who the hell would do that? And so then, one day some guy approached me and said, you'd be great in the entertainment business. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what a weirdo. No. And then he said pro wrestling. I'm like, oh my God. And then they kept bugging me, and it's in my book. And then finally I just fell into it. And then fast forward to your question in the transition, I was done with wrestling. I was I was good to wrestling. Wrestling wasn't good to me. And it was, for the era of prior to the Attitude Era, women worked their ass off to try to get anything they could as far as, the recognition, to have their name on the marquee, or, to even have it mentioned, or we were a lot of times and more, so to have that even happen, it was pretty, I don't know. Anyway, so the transitions were, it just fell into it. So when I was done with wrestling, I was thinking, I'm just going to go back into nursing. I loved what I did. I was done with wrestling. I was like, gave it all. I gave it my all. I changed the trajectory a few times, hit the pinnacle a few times, which is rare. And I have a lot of good friends. Now, Mickey, you've been singing for a while. And I'm going to tell you that, it was Mike that called me and said, hey, can you give this girl a chance? Can you pull some strings and have her sing the national anthem at a monster truck show? And I said, who is it? Is she a singer? Do I know her? And well, she's a wrestler too. And then he told me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm familiar, but I didn't know she sang. And he just said, she's really, this was before, like, you were just starting and you're like, I really want to help her get her foot out there and do stuff. And I thought that was so nice. So I needed to share
That
that with
was
you.
very nice. I
Michael
believe
was,
that was when I first came to Impact, to TNA at the time, my first time, and they let me do hardcore country. My album was coming out with the Somebody's Gonna Pay when I'd gotten
yeah,
signed
maybe.
to One
Yeah.
Music Nashville, and they let me do, and they were actually really, because Dixie used to work with Tanya Tucker a
Oh,
lot. So then so
yeah.
she had a lot of stuff within the music industry. So they were trying, like, I have to say, they really did try to help. Like, they helped me the most with my music, as far as like allowing me to have the freedom to do the concerts. And I would do after concerts, like after the shows. Lisa, you remember? Do you remember when Brooke broke my rib, or like fractured my rib, and I had to go sing at the Wild Wings or wherever it was in
What?
Georgia afterwards, and I couldn't breathe and I was sucking wind? Oh my
my
God.
God.
I remember.
Breathing through the nose. Oh,
Alicia, do you remember
my
that?
God.
Yeah.
I vaguely I remember her rib getting hurt, but I don't remember after that. I'll be honest with you.
No, because you guys went to the next town and I had to stay and sing.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay.
You know
Well,
what though, Madusa, what I want to say is, because you kind of touched on it earlier, and it's so funny because we were talking about today on Busted Open, we did the top 10 most influential like women's matches, or historic women's matches, which was really, really hard to do, because there's been, especially
You
in the
can't.
last
Yeah.
in the
I know, right?
last
It's hard.
5 years, 10 years, there's been even more, like, been more monumental stuff. So I really took mine on like this journey of me as a wrestling fan. And then where, I don't even know if I have my list still up here, me as a wrestling fan, and then coming on to the wrestling scene, like how that kind of changed. In your match, I believe it was SummerSlam with Bull.
That was one of my best ones with her, though. Yeah. In
Yeah,
Tokyo,
it was
too.
on my list. I don't remember what number it was, but it was on my list because at that time, the women's championship, women's wrestling hadn't been showcased since like Sherry was champion when they dissolved the women's championship. So it was like the first time we were seeing like women's wrestling presented. And it's so fresh, like in fresh eyes. What was that, 90, 94?
Yeah, it was around 94, 95.
is that when you tore your ACL? That's when you tore your ACL in that match?
No, I tore my ACL when I wrestled Wendy Richter in AWA.
Oh,
Yeah. But it's just crazy because, like you said, it's like after the Attitude Era, and then I saw like people going like, "Oh, you forgot, I didn't mention any of these other matches that just happened like last year." You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, but these were
so many.
There's so many ones, and obviously there's like, if you had a list of 20 or 50, then maybe it'd be a lot easier. But you're right, that whole era goes under the radar, right? Because it wasn't celebrated the way it was. And
well, we didn't have the TV either, to be fair. There wasn't,
right.
I don't mean just me as an individual or the women as
no,
individuals,
all of them,
but
Luna,
all of them. Everybody,
Jacqueline.
men and I can't say men, but they did get TV, but we just didn't have the TV.
Right.
I mean,
and it was like, and others, right? Like, and the ladies match. So to have your name in it per se up on the thing, it was like, and we have a ladies match,
Yes. Yeah.
But I hope because now you're doing the Treasures show. I saw you're doing that. And you have your book out. And how was that? You have your book out. You have a podcast now. And I think that there's been this whole resurgence of people are going back and watching a lot of stuff and becoming more familiar. But even like Beth Phoenix will go like, you were so influential in her career and you were the reason why she wanted to be a wrestler,
Yeah,
so I
she
hope
did. I got a little secret
and really know like how many people you influenced, myself included, you influenced in the business. And so, it never goes under our radar. I just hope
I know that, and I appreciate it. Thank you. And I mean, the other women do too. And I just wish I could do more, because I'm basically their voice, because you don't hear or see them, any of them. I try to push for, the glamour girls and the jumping bomb angels, and try to push for Wendy more. If it wasn't for Wendy, I think it was WrestleMania 1, guys. I mean, she basically set the standard. I mean, she was as popular as Hogan, guys. I mean, she was as popular as Hogan, if not more. She got paid peanuts. She had commercials. She had cartoons. She had it all. And
the
it
original
just,
screw job. That's a good point with the Spider Lady. And when you talk about, would there have been of WrestleMania 1 without that match with Cyndi Lauper and all those eyes, what it did, the highest Nielsen rating. We were just talking about that earlier, and people totally forget that, or totally forget about the original when Moolah dressed up as Spider Lady and beat Wendy again. And then you didn't
I'm sorry,
hear
I don't
from
believe Wendy though. There's no way that you can, I mean, Lisa, you guys, come on. There's no way going out there that she did not know that was Moolah from Wrestling Moolah all those years. That I told her, Wendy, I said, you can blow that out your fucking ass. That's bullshit. No, I mean, you can keep milking that as much as you want, but I'm sorry. If I wrestled Bull Nakano, let's put it this way. If I wrestled Bull Nakano all that time, like she did Moolah, and then Bull Nakano came out in a black thing, I'm going to be like, yeah, bitch, take that off.
Right.
So I don't believe that at all, but it was so an
funny.
angle. It was an angle. That's my feeling. Those are just my opinions. I'm not saying that's what it was or what she believes. Let's correct that before the clickbait bitches get out there. But anyway.
Yeah. But the whole MTV thing and all that stuff, that all came out of that with her and Cyndi Lauper. And it was just like, and then, you know, Hulk Hogan kind of took off, but then you didn't really hear about that anymore. Like it
but
was
then
kinda...
did we have a WrestleMania? Was there women in WrestleMania? Let's see, 2 and 3, but nothing in 4, 5, or 6. I mean, they kind of died out, right? Yeah. I don't know which ones it was, but there wasn't any. But
Madusa, do you have any thoughts about Cyndi Lauper in the Hall of Fame? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because for me, like, you know, obviously she's a music icon. She's
well, she was part of WrestleMania. Why wouldn't she be in there?
Right.
Why wouldn't she? But it could be her call. I'm for it. It could be her call. It could be her call. And a lot of the things, again, we don't, I think it is, but we don't know what goes on the other side. And so it's kind of like Miss Elizabeth. Her family will never let her, let her, but they won't. I do want to go to real quick here. We were talking about, Mickie, you brought something up about the transitions and stuff and what people had in the past and today. I want to ask all of your honest opinion. Y'all are familiar with NFL, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we have football. And football is treated really well. They have a thing called the Players Association. A Players Association, which is an amazing organization which takes care of their players. It's really good. It's like a Teamsters thing, right? Like a union. However, even if a player's been in there for like 3 years and they retire or whatever, I mean, that person gets a regular paycheck every quarter if it's $5,000 or $8,000 until they're gone. I mean, that little bit there could help with paying bills, medicals. And, you know, when I see some of our older wrestlers that we were talking about, I mean, we could have something like this and it sure in the hell would keep them out from, you know, doing all these signings every weekend. So what I wanted to ask you guys is that why don't we? So why don't we have something like that in wrestling? Why don't we?
I think the boys and the girls were our biggest hurdle, because I mean, was it Jesse Ventura who tried to do something? Like
he did, and guess who stopped him? Guess who turned him in?
Hogan, I thought.
Yes.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Am I right? I've done a little bit of research, and it was just like done a little bit of research because I kind of looked into it.
Shame on Hogan.
Fair. It's not fair. And just like we were talking today about, you know, I did my first masterclass, my first like seminar this weekend, and one of the girls said to me, and I'm not going to say, but she said, you know, the first school, because she goes to a different school now, the first school I started at, they didn't teach me chain wrestling, like, because he thinks it's boring. And I'm like, well, he should have given you his money back, and he needs to close his doors. Like, why don't we have better regulations on who's teaching the future stars, because they're teaching them wrong, and then they have to go back and relearn, or they're cutting their legs out from the underneath of them, and they're never going to get an opportunity because you taught them wrong out of the gate. We don't take care of our veterans, like, especially when that's what the foundation, the business has been built off of. And now you see them, you know,
we're doing
at the
20
top of
different
an escalator
jobs
at a mall,
Yes, you're
selling
doing 20 different jobs. You're out there selling your stuff, killing yourself,
Good
bringing
point.
this stuff. And there should be an organization like the Players Association for Wrestling.
For
We have
sure.
a multi-billion-dollar company
Yes.
that is the monopoly.
And now
of
more
this
than
industry.
one. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And, since I went on board working with the CAC, it's a great organization. It helps, it gives back to, the people in our community and in wrestling. And it's just a small amount. It's just, benevolent, and et cetera. So, I mean, there needs to be more than that. And I understand putting people through, people say, well, they got a drug rehab. I mean, it's great. It just a players association or a wrestling association would have been great. And shame on Hogan for doing that. I mean, and what happens is that there's this, it's going to take the key players that are on top, but they're getting paid so well, they can't say anything because they'll lose it. That it'll take somebody with the balls to say something and stand together to make this happen.
Yeah.
And I would love to see somebody stand up with their platform like Dwayne or John Cena that have this ability to do this with their own people.
Everyone that's listening here, whether you're in the live chat or you're watching on replay, in the description, you can find Madusa's book. You can find all of her ways to follow her on her amazing journey. Madusa, we love you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And listen,
we didn't even touch on anything. We just
I know. Yeah, I'm the next guest next week, and I got skipped over about what I thought about the wrestler. We'll tune in on that on your show.
Please. So I want to have each individual, as I was saying on my podcast, because we all share different stuff and we've experienced different things, and there's so many questions I want to ask each individually and on a personal matter, and I mean about life and work, and I want to hear your guys' views and on your generation, because I wasn't there behind the scenes, and you just hear things. So you can't believe everything you hear, and you can't believe everything you see either.
Right.
What, did I just see that? No, I didn't see that. But so I think an individual interview on my podcast would be great too, and we can spend more time and get in depth. I'd love it. But thank you for having me. My husband cooked me dinner while we were doing this.
Nice.
So.
Wow,
what
lovely.
a good man.
But again,
and
anyone that's watching, just again, join the description downstairs. It'll be right there. All of her book information, all of her social media information.
Is that right? Is that like
there.
Right there?
Make sure
right
you're
there,
following
podcast
information. All of her
information.
amazing ventures. Yes. Mickie and Lisa, you take us out for our final cheers.
Well, I was going to say,
much.
I can't wait to see you at the Cauliflower Alley Club. I'm so excited, so honored, and I love everything.
Are you going to sing for us?
I don't have my band with me.
No, you know what? Oh, you can sing. I love all of you too, and thank you.
I love you,
Lisa.
I love you.
We all love you. But let's
my love
Lisa lead us in our final cheers.
I got Jim Ross inducted me in the Hall of Fame at CSC, so give my love to everybody there.
I will.
The a lot of the Glow Girls will be there, so give them my love.
Oh, yes. Okay. Someday we'll get your ass there.
Medusa, we love you. We're wishing you continued success. You are the amazing, the ultimate grown-ass woman, the ultimate boss babe. We love you. Wishing you continued success. Cheers to you.
Thank you. Mwah. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
All right, I got one of my glasses. Oh, yeah, you can just get in that truck and go, babe.
Go, yo.